Hey Luis, how's it going? I'm taking a look at your stuff here. I played through this a couple times. I'll play through it again and just give you my thoughts.
Dad? Dad loves superheroes. He believed in them. These are not heroes. If they were, your father would still be here.
Cool. So, um, yeah, cool. So, obviously, yeah, you're spline, like you said in your thing. That's fine. Um, so, some things I'm noticing that I'll comment on. I'm not sure if they're within your control or not, but I'm seeing like kind of the distance here feels like it grows a lot, like almost the clavicle is pulling this way away from the body. So I'm seeing like this distance here feels greater. This distance and this distance don't feel like the same. I'm not sure if you're translating or if you're just rotating. But if you are rotating, and this is just what the rig is giving you, you may want to consider translating a little bit back if you're allowed to try to like keep that looking the same. Um, because that's like really catching my eye. Like this shoulder movement, everything feels okay, but it's kind of strange to me how that I'm not fully understanding the gesture here where the elbow goes from being in like this to coming out like this. So you know, I feel like if I were to kind of draw this and build these poses, if this was my A pose, my B pose would be, sorry, let me do the A pose here since I can, there's no drawing in the interim to confuse me. I see, maybe you're trying to like lead a little bit with the elbow on picking up the arm, maybe. And then going to something, but I still feel like the top of this arm would still need to be kind of like out and away from the body before that drop down would be like complete, like coming down here. Hopefully that makes some sort of sense. So yeah, if I would raise up, if this is what you're going for, if I'm misinterpreting this, please forgive me, but I would raise up with the elbow out, I think, if this is what you're going for here, and then kind of flip it out here, and then when you're down, have it just be like kind of straight. Maybe that's not what you're going for. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Not entirely sure. Okay, anyways, let me take another look at things. If that's what you're doing, if you're kind of going to go up, and I'm reading that from the shoulders, like these clavicles seem to go up and then go down, I would incorporate that also into the body by having everything go up a little bit. And it all starts from the cog, you know? Here I feel like it's rotating forward, but it's not really going up. And it doesn't have to be a lot. So let's say this is like the belt line of the character. If you're raising up to get ready for this big gesture down, maybe just even like something like this would be enough to kind of support it. And then when you go down, you know, maybe you want to go down just a touch below where you started and then return to like where you started is kind of like the four things here. All right, anyways. See, this arm gesture looks nice, except I think, again, this clavicle is doing some weird stuff. Like, I don't know what this distance is supposed to be. I don't know if you're translating them at all or if you're rotating them. And that's just like the deformation that you're kind of getting. But I would want to like translate that clavicle back in where this space doesn't exist at all. You know what I mean? So it should be just like more cleanly something like, you know, this is up and it just comes straight down, and like, you know, we're not having that weird armpit space open up. So something that I'm seeing happening here is the torso's rotating back and the head's kind of rotating back the exact same amount almost, you know what I mean? So what I want to see is when your torso starts to go back, rotate the, like counter it with the neck a little bit, right? Have the neck and head kind of drag if that's an acting choice that you're comfortable with. If not, maybe the head and neck can like lead the action, whatever you want, but it should probably just be broken up from the lean back with everything else, you know? This is kind of nice where your head's like dipping and then coming up. Like I almost feel like there's this kind of arc happening with the nose, but I'm not feeling it like supported much by the neck. So, you know, I would rotate the neck forward in this gesture a bit, where so from the side it's like, I'm not going to try to draw it from the side. I think you know what I mean. And so it'd be forward here, and then it would be like coming back and catching up with the torso after the torso kind of lands to get back into here. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. If not, we can talk about this specifically in class. This kind of feels nice. I really feel the chest like inflating and coming up, and the arms come up, and then they go down, like the chest comes down and leads all of these hands and arm gestures here. That feels really nice, what you're doing right there. I feel like the bangs, are the bangs like simmed? Is that happening, or are you hand animating those? Very curious. Let me see what that drift on those hands look like in real time. Yeah, I don't think you need this much drift on the hands. I think I would just kind of hit the pose here and kind of live in it more like in, live in it more like in this zone. I mean, you don't want them to just be locked in space, but this drifting back feels like very linear and evenly spaced. So what I would do instead is like pause here, hold them a beat, maybe like, you know, drop them down a little bit, have them come up over time, you know, over this time. But right now it looks like there's kind of like a key here and a key here at the end. So they're traveling like very evenly, very much in a straight line. And then they like come to a stop like right before the shot cuts. I think maybe we can give that a little more attention, a little more sophistication. So let me watch through just the first one again, see if anything else catches my eye. Yeah, cool. Alright, so I'm going to talk about the second shot right now. The first thing that catches my eye is like this motion on the comic book. Here, it like goes up like the spacing like right away as a pretty big jump. And I think your audience needs a little more time to understand what we're looking at. So I'd kind of like hold that more in this same position for a few frames before she like starts moving it up. And also pay attention to like the arcs that all of this is taking, because it goes back this way, then it seems to go up, and then it almost immediately goes here, like there's some sharp corners kind of in like how it moves. So like track that stuff and try to smooth it out, you know. And you can even institute like a little, like here it's like you have this angle on the comic and this angle on the comic, and then it feels like the top is almost like pulling back in as it changes directions. And I would think you would want the top to almost like continue just slightly that way to show that it has a little bit of weight. You know what I mean? Maybe that's too much. Kind of like the angle that I've drawn. It's more of like an idea than like a specific drawing to follow. Again, like here the comic, if you watch it, it goes in, she slaps it, and then it like goes right back out. It's just like, it's a type of busyness being introduced, and I think you want to kind of like control for where the audience's eye is looking. So, maybe you can just drop it down into a pose and kind of just hang out here without it being like totally frozen. You gotta like keep the pixels like dancing a little bit, but it doesn't have to like do this huge journey of going down and coming back up. It gives it less room to move for when you need to like get it in the right pose to have the hand slap it. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know why I keep asking questions like that. Yeah, so I'm kind of watching the arc of this wrist takes here. It kind of does this stuff, and then I know it goes off screen. I'm just kind of like auditing that arc and that spacing. And yeah, like maybe this one needs to be pushed up a little bit so it's more like here, if like that feels better spaced. This feels like a big jump either way, no matter where it is. And then it feels like it loses its horizontal momentum and just goes straight down into the straight arm pose. And then this goes straight for just one pose and then bounces back again. So it kind of reads like an elbow pop right in this frame here. So I keep an eye on that, try to like eliminate that. This is nice how our like arms come up though and just kind of hold a pose, but they don't feel dead. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I'm looking for, I think, out of most other spots in your thing. This drift, however, on her middle part just feels like drift again. I feel like we're just going in a straight line from here to here. And there was kind of like, that's nice with her torso. And I feel like for the first couple frames she's coming up, but then we lose all upward momentum and just go straight back. So we kind of want to keep that little arc doing something interesting, right? Keep that arc kind of alive on the cog would be my suggestion. That's kind of nice too, but I want you to get, I guess you have the neck involved a little bit there, which is cool. But I would also like drag the neck here and not have it come back up in lockstep with like the torso, just building in little offsets and stuff where you can. Yeah, so let me take one more look at that whole performance. Yeah, it's getting there. I think this was probably a little early to go to a spline on my taste because I don't feel like the step blocking was fully worked out or like fully resolved and stuff, but that's okay. We'll try to work through it like this. But I think, what I'm seeing is a lot of movement without like hitting a lot of like not living within a lot of poses. So maybe we can like settle down into some more poses. Like a perfect example is what that left hand is doing with the comic book, how it like kind of just was moving around in ways that I don't feel like necessarily like support anything. Yeah, but this is coming along. So it's just kind of about like, getting these like drifts out of the cog. Like I was saying, like really pay attention to those. Everything is going to want to move in an arc. So, if somebody moves forward, it's probably going to go forward and down. When they move backwards, it may go up and then down to get to their resting place, that kind of stuff. Making sure that we're not doing like just the straight line computer moves that the computer gives you. We need to beat those out of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is coming along. So good stuff. I can't wait to see your next iteration, and I will see you in class.